School leaders in Kingsport and Johnson City are alerting parents about new state laws changing the way they're notified about school threats.
Parents are being told they may receive more safety notifications because of a new law. But as News Channel 11's Karen Jenkins tells us, it may not mean there have been more threats made. Karen?
Yeah, Public Chapter 215 was recently amended to say schools are now required to notify parents and guardians within 48 hours each time credible information about a threat of violence is reported and investigated by local law enforcement. In the past, many of these reports were deemed not to be legitimate, so parents weren't told. Part of the duty of a school resource officer is to investigate any potential threat against the school, says Assistant Superintendent of Kingsport Schools, Andy True. Sometimes the investigation includes law enforcement other than the SRO. A new Tennessee law now requires those threats that go beyond the SRO to be reported to all parents and guardians in the district within 48 hours, whether the threat was credible or not.
So for us, I think it's really not theoretically going to change exactly what we do and how we do it. I think it will, however, add to some communication that maybe has not happened in the past. For instance, there are scenarios where we would work with law enforcement to investigate, something we become aware of that turns out to be a non-issue or something that was false. I think under this current scenario and this current law, we would then now be communicating that piece to parents.
To alert parents of the change and the fact that they may be hearing about threats more than in the past, Kingsport Schools sent letters to parents to explain the new law. The legislation passed unanimously in Nashville. State Senator Bobby Harshbarger explained the reasoning behind the law and says, in part, the amendment was about strengthening parental rights and ensuring transparency in schools. This came in response to concerns from parents right here in our region who felt they were being left out of important decisions in their children's education. Some may say this adds red tape. Empowering parents should never be considered red tape. But True doesn't consider it red tape and says communication with parents has always been a priority for Kingsport Schools, but admits parents wouldn't have been told about some so-called threats in the past.
Thankfully, the vast majority of those situations in the past turn out to be non-issues. Now, those investigations will trigger this type of communication that we'll give to parents.
Another part of the law requires school boards to report the number of threats investigated at each quarterly meeting. Now, Johnson City, Kingsport, and some Sullivan County schools have communicated to parents about this new notification law. Parents in Bristol, Tennessee district should look for similar communication being sent out next week. This updated law, though, applies to all school districts in Tennessee.